senses. Okay. You asked the question again. You have started the recording now.
Yeah. So chapter 6, question 1, we are revising for the Bhakti Shastri exam. When is the mind the best of friends and when is the mind the greatest enemy?
For a person who has conquered the mind, that is a controlled mind, the mind is the best of the friend. And for a man who has not conquered the mind, that is uncontrolled mind, the mind is the greatest enemy. So if the mind is controlled, then the sense gratification is controlled. But for an uncontrolled mind, he runs after sense gratification. And here he is transcendently situated. But when mind is uncontrolled, then you are lured by the lust, anger, greed, illusion. So, in a controlled mind, elevates us, whereas an uncontrolled mind entangles us.
All right. Perfect. Then the second one is give the English meaning of the word ekaki and suchodeshe. Ekaki and suchodeshe.
Sachu Desai.
Okay, suchodeshe.
Okay, ekaki means alone. So I'll talk about the translation. So it is said that a transcendentalist should always engage his mind and senses in relationship with the Supreme Lord. So he should live alone in a secluded place and try to control his senses so that he can, and in such a situation, he should practice yoga by meditating upon the Lord. So that is the significance of using the word alone, that you're controlling your senses and you're living in a secluded place to meditate upon the Lord. So next one you said is Satu Desai. Desai means land and Satu means sanctified or a sacred place. So in India, the yogis usually prefer staying in a sacred places like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Prayag, and Mathura, and so they leave their they leave their home and live in a secluded place where the holy rivers, river and Ganga flow, so that they can meditate upon the Lord. So the sanctified land means a place of pilgrimage.
Correct. What is the result of extravagance in eating, sleeping, defending, and mating?
Okay, so the extravagance in eating, meeting, sleeping, and defending, which are the demands of body, can block the advancement of the spiritual journey and they can cause a material misery. So, but if same time a Krishna conscious person who's regulated in his sleeping habits, he does not sleep for more than 6 hours, he doesn't eat too much, doesn't eat too less, and he's regulated in his other activities, attains perfect peace and draws transcendental pleasure by devotional service.
Draws transcendental pleasure by
Devotional service.
Okay. So the next question is in question 3 there's nothing, it's just not there. No, we are up here. What is the result of, okay, we finished that. Give the English meaning of the term yukta.
Yukta means one who is well situated in yoga by meditating upon Lord or by practice of yoga. If your mind is controlled and your senses are controlled, it is said that you are well situated in yoga. When you control your senses, means you are well situated in yoga.
Right. Perfect. What is pratyahara?
Okay. Yeah. Pratyahara is that by proper conviction and intelligence, when one gradually ceases the sense activity, it is called as pratyahara. With the cessation of activities and conviction, one is actually situated in a position of samadhi or trance. Trance, samadhi or trance.
Yeah, very nice. Next is yogis who are attracted to what cannot attain.
Mataji, you will answer these 5 questions. Are you prepared, or you want to do all and then answer, or you want to answer 1 to 5 first?
I'll answer 1 to 5.
Yeah, so let me ask so that you remember and you remember properly. So you close now and let me open.
All right.
Let me open. Okay, when is the mind best of the friend and when is the mind greatest enemy?
Okay. So the mind is our greatest friend when it is controlled or it is conquered. And the mind is our greatest enemy when it is not controlled or not conquered. And when the mind is controlled, it is engaged in Krishna consciousness, and it is constantly concentrating on the Supreme. And when the mind is not controlled, it is serving the different,
Sense gratification.
serving the dictations of lust, anger, greed, illusion, and all that. And any one more point is there?
The sense gratification, as said, you are attached to sense gratification, then you're detached from sense gratification.
So, and then when your mind is in control, you are detached from sense gratification. When it's uncontrolled, you are attached to sense gratification.
Yes. So it will entangle us.
Right. One will entangle us and one will free us.
Yes. Okay. Give the English meaning of the word ekaki and Sachu Desai.
Alright, so ekaki is basically being alone in seclusion. And so when a person is practicing Krishna consciousness, he has to focus his mind on the Supreme Lord and keep himself away from distractions which can lead to sense gratification. And like the tortoise, who pulls in all his senses. So it is preferable.
Mataji, talk about alone first. You have to give the meaning of alone. Now, so he have to live in a secluded place alone. Then you speak all these points.
He has to be alone and he has to be secluded in a place where there is no disturbance by any.
So that he can control his mind and senses and attach it to Lord.
And attach it to the Lord.
Sachu Desai.
Sacho Deshe is basically a sanctified land or it's a place of pilgrimage. For example, Prayag, Mathura, and Vrindavan is also there, no?
Yeah.
Mathura, Vrindavan, Rishikesh, Haridwar, and any place where the holy rivers like the Ganga and Yamuna are flowing. That such a place is called a place of pilgrimage is called a Sacho Deshe.
So they leave home and they leave home to live in a secluded place and meditate upon Lord.
Okay. So,
or practice Krishna consciousness, anything you can say.
All right. So they can practice Krishna consciousness better, right? When they're in a secluded place.
Because it's a pace of pilgrimage, so the aura will be there.
Right.
Okay, next question. Okay, what is the result of extravagance in eating, sleeping, defending, and mating?
Okay. So extravagance in eating, what is the result of extravagance? No, so one person who is extravagant in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, he has to experience a lot of material miseries, and he has to what's one more point? And it blocks his spiritual advancement.
Correct.
Blocks his spiritual advancement. On the other hand, a devotee, he does everything very moderately. He eats only the Krishna prasadam and he sleeps very limited. For example, Haridas Thakur would sleep only, after finishing his entire rounds. And in fact, Prabhupada used to sleep only for 2 hours. It's recommended,
That is a Srila Rupa Goswami used to sleep only for 2 hours and he would be engaged in devotional service all the time. And Haridas Thakur would finish at 3, I'm forgetting 3 lakh. Then how many rounds, and he would not even touch prasada without finishing his rounds.
So that's where a devotee, in all the activities, he follows moderation and he's not extravagant.
Okay. Give the English meaning of the term yukta.
So yukta is well situated in yoga and it means that a person in Krishna consciousness, we have Krishna consciousness here also, no? Krishna
Yeah. Same.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. For example, like King Ambarisha, he has dedicated his, you put all those points, his eyes to see Lord Krishna, his feet to travel to the holy pilgrimage places, his nose to smell the flowers offered to Krishna, what is that? An incense or whatever, and his mouth to taste the prasadam, and his tongue to chant, and his, what are the other things? His hands, his ears.
Cleaning the temple and his legs circumambulating the temple.
Circumambulating the temple. So similarly, a person who is yukta or well situated in yoga, he engages all his senses as well as his mind in Krishna consciousness.
Correct. Pratyahara.
So pratyahara is basically the gradual stopping of all the sense.
Cease. You can use the word cease.
So it's a gradual ceasing of any activity which is related to sense gratification by conviction and determination.
Intelligence you have to use.
Conviction and intelligence. Yeah, by conviction.
Because then the Mayavadis can come, they do it forcefully, they are not using the intelligence. But here you are using your intelligence by like eating prasada. That is what devotees are doing, right? They're intelligently using, but Mayavadis are just controlling it and then they are following.
Okay.
So use the word intelligence.
All right. So the pratyahara is the gradual ceasing of all activities related to sense gratification by conviction and intelligence. Because the Mayavadis are blindly and forcefully stopping their sensual urges. And on the other hand, the people who are Krishna conscious, they engage their mind as well as their senses in intelligently. They engage all their senses in the service of the Lord.
But if Mayavadi example is not given in that purport, don't mention. That is what Mataji said.
Okay, okay, fine.
I just explained it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not writing about Mayavadi. I've just explained intelligence. So don't use if it is not given in the purport.
I'll check.
Because we do not know who is checking the copy. Na? They want to be focused to the point answer types. Okay. Okay, yogis are attached. Sixth question, you have to ask or it's done? You have to ask me, na?
Sixth question I have to ask you. So
Okay.
Sixth question is, yogis were attracted to what cannot attain the state of perfection?
Okay, the yogis who are attracted to the siddhis or perfection are not well situated in yoga. If one is attracted by the byproducts of yoga, it is said that what is your question? He cannot attain what? Perfection.
Perfection, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they are busy in the mock show practice of the, gymnastic feats, something Mataji said, gymnastic feats, and then the real aim of yoga is lost because you're trying to show off your siddhis.
Okay, fine. Then the next one is explain the analogy to illustrate that the mind is strong and obstinate.
Okay, okay. Mind is okay. Is that was the controlling wind, na?
Yeah, controlling wind and also the
yeah, intelligent. Intelligent is supposed to direct the mind. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it overcomes one's intelligence. Just like an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of a medicine. So they have also given a simile that it is very difficult to control the blowing wind. So it is, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. So that is a very good analogy they're given. So what is the easiest way to control the mind is by chanting the name of Lord Krishna as given by the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Perfect. Then the next question is, describe what happens to an unsuccessful yogi.
Okay, there are two kinds of unsuccessful yogi. One is fallen down after a short period of progress, and the other one is the one who has fallen down after a long period of practice. So one who has fallen down after a short period of practice will have a prolonged life in the heavenly planet, and after he is enjoyed, he returns back to the planet, and then he takes birth in a Brahmana Vaishnava families or aristocratic merchant families, and where he can elevate himself in Krishna consciousness. And the second one is one who has the unsuccessful yogi who has fallen after a long practice, right? So he takes birth in a family like Goswami or Charya, which are very learned and wise people. So the child gets impetus right from spiritual impetus right from the birth only. So the example they have given is of our Prabhupada itself.
Yeah, correct. Then
so now your turn.
Done, right? So you'll ask me these three questions?
Yeah, I'll ask because there were only three questions. So let me 1 second. Okay. Yogis are attracted to what cannot attain the stage of perfection.
So yogis who are attracted to the siddhis that they achieve along the way, which are actually the byproducts of yoga, they cannot attain the perfect or final stage of yoga because they get engaged or they start enjoying the different gymnastic feats that they are able to perform and attract the crowd or enjoy the fame which comes with it. And so they can't attain the perfection.
Correct. Next question is explain the analogy to illustrate that mind is strong and obstinate.
So here we can look at the analogy of the of comparison of the body with the chariot, where the passenger is the driver, and
Mataji, you have to give it to the point. Here the analogies of the infection.
yeah. So we are mentioning about the fact now that the intelligence is actually higher than the mind, and it actually should be controlling the mind. But just as the mind becomes uncontrolled and it even starts dictating the intelligence, similar the analogy provided is when a person has a disease which is too severe that even a medicine is not able to cure it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then other thing is you can talk about the blowing wind. Na? The blowing wind is difficult to
Yeah,
capture.
the blowing wind, the raging winds are difficult to control, and similarly, the mind is difficult to control, and it can be controlled only by chanting of Hare Krishna, as suggested by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay. Describe what happens to an unsuccessful yogi.
So, an unsuccessful yogi can have two options. The one possibility is if he has given up his life after a short practice, and the second is if he has given up his life after a long process, long practice. If he gave up his life after short practice, he gets an opportunity to enjoy in the heavenly planets for many years, and then he comes back to the earth. And also, he's born in a Brahmana or a Vaishnava family or a family of merchants, of rich merchants or something. And whereas a person who has already gone,
where he can continue his Krishna
so that he can
consciousness.
continue with his process of Krishna consciousness from wherever he left. But a person who has already engaged in long years and has attained a long way of practicing Krishna consciousness before he gives up his life, he is able to take the rare birth in a family of transcendentalists like the Goswamis or the Acharyas. And the example is Srila Prabhupada himself, who was born in a family of transcendentalists for generations, and also his guru, Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati. He also was born in a family of transcendentalists.
Correct. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, right?
Yeah.
Saraswati Thakur.
Goswami. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the next questions.
Long questions. Summary we are not doing, right? So,
no.
How 6.9 inspires you to cultivate friendly Vaishnava dealings?
Okay. Friendly Vaishnava doing is that since we are in Krishna consciousness, we should see Paramatma in each and every soul. So therefore, we should not differentiate between persons, whether they are rich or they are poor, or they are intelligent or they're not intelligent, based on their caste or their creed. And we should be equal to everyone, and we should respect them equally, and we should try to help them by giving them Krishna Prasad and elevate them into Krishna consciousness. And we should be samdarshana, like we should see with equal eyes to everyone.
Okay. So I had noted down these points, no, which were there in the purport. Whether they are honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, neutral, mediators, envious, friends, enemies, pious, or sinners.
We should be equal to them.
We should be equal to all of them, yeah. And then we should look at all of them with an equal mind. What is the significance of the story of the sparrows?
Oh, that's my favorite story now.
Okay.
That determination and perseverance always pays. You should be steady and focused, and you should not give up. And you should try. You should have a proper and a strong conviction, and you should be steady in your endeavor. And if success or no success, you should not feel traumatized by it, but you should be determined and continue it consistently. That is what Krishna consciousness is about, right?
So you will say the story of the sparrow, right? The eggs and all that.
No, it's not asked now.
Significance of the story of the sparrow. You won't say the story?
They haven't asked.
Okay. I thought we'll write the story.
The story will become a long thing. It was like there was a small sparrow who lost his eggs in the storm of water near the shore. So she started, she angrily told the sea to return the eggs. And but the sea did not return the eggs. So she said, okay, if you will not return my eggs, I will dry you up. So she starts taking the water in her beak and drying up the ocean. So this news spreads by and it reaches to Garuda, who is the carrier of the Lord Vishnu. So, being empathetic, he comes to see his little bird sister Sparrow, and seeing his determination, he tells the ocean to return the eggs. Otherwise, he would take up the work of little Sparrow by himself. So, fearing Garuda, the ocean returns the eggs. So, the moral of the story is that one should not give up hope on anything, and one should consistent be consistent in his endeavor and determination, and one should try to success or no success, one should be consistent in his endeavor.
Then the Lord will surely help because God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Then sex is, I think, so already done, no? Extra analogy of acute infections we've already done. Discuss the difference of bhajate and worship.
Yeah, bhajate is the word where its roots in word has its roots in the word bhaj, which means need for service. So bhajate is used for supreme personality of Godhead
Bhaj
because
means
we are
what?
part
Bhaj means what?
need for service.
Need.
Need for service.
Lead. Okay.
Need. Need. Need.
Bhaj means need for service.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It means there's a need for service. So we means that by faith and to serve the Lord, to do the service of the Lord with love and faith. And this is, we are talking about supreme personality of Godhead because we are part and parcel of supreme personality of Godhead by our eternal constitution position as eternal servant of supreme personality of Godhead. We need to do service to the Lord. Whereas worship means to adore, to give honor, or to give respect to a person who is worthy, and one may or may not, one may not worship the worthy person, and then he will be what he may be called discourteous, but you cannot avoid serving the Lord because we are his eternal servant. That's the difference between bhajate, that is you have to do it because that is your position, and worship means you are adoring and you may or may not adore. So they will just say that that you have not been doing, so you are not courteous and this and that, so that is still okay, but bhajate is for supreme personality of God.
Okay, fine. The next one is examples of modern religious practices, philosophies, and ideologies which relate to the steps of the yoga ladder.
I didn't do this.
Okay. Then the
Yes,
next,
this is Karam Kanda, then Nishkam Karma Yoga, then Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, something like that. But I didn't do it because I didn't know what to write for it. No.
yeah, you have to give examples of the modern day, um, philosophies and ideologies. So like karma
I don't know.
yoga.
We can give example of Mayavadis. We can give example of gymnastic feast, the siddhis which people take and make mockery of it. And then we can talk about pretenders, that
Yeah,
who pretend.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and another thing in yoga letter I don't know. Like a person can pretend to meditate and he can go to the river of Ganges and he's not elevated in Krishna consciousness, so he will just attract the attention of people, innocent people. So that things we can write, and gymnastic feast we can write that if you have some siddhi or something you can do, then again you will
Nishkam
attract
and
people.
Sakam Karma Yoga, we can explain a little bit. For example, those who are, nowadays we find many people who just pray to the demigods and they want something in return. So that is Sakam, and then you elevate yourself to your Nishkam Karma Yoga where you have no more desire for the results. Nana, we can mention.
Okay. Okay.
Then a question
And
9. Explain with reference to chapter 6 verses and statements from Prabhupada's purport. These are all long questions.
leave it then, na? Motherji said leave it.
8 to 12, the rest of them are all long.
So leave it now. I have not done. That's why I wanted to ask you whether we should do or we should leave.
Let me see if we get time. We just go through and write some short answers. And tomorrow, before we do chapter 4, if we are got something in this chapter 6, these answers we'll discuss.
We will do 3 and 4 tomorrow, Mataji.
3 and 4 tomorrow, same time?
Yeah, we have to finish one also because Saturday I have to go to hospital.
Yeah. Okay, so tomorrow after I come back from my native place at night, we'll do 1, 3 and 4.
Yeah, because I have not done one. For 1 and 3, I'm on to you.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Fine.
We have to finish all the 3. Saturday I'll be in hospital and I don't know. The time flies in and in household
No, but
work, cooking
Saturday
and
you're postponing it to Monday, na? Hospital one, you said your husband said we'll do on Monday.
he's saying that, but I'm insisting him to go because if they have to start some medicines or if they have to take another scan or something, why delay it? Because these things are very sensitive.
Mm.
Okay, he's doing it for me, but I'm doing it for him. Mutual.